$33 for toilet paper? We can't even afford to shit.
Like, are we dead serious right now? Like, are we dead ass? Is this real life?
Look at that. You gotta be fucking kidding us, Ruffles.
A regular Coke, 3 for $20.97. Like, actual soda, $21.
What the fuck? Used to get a whole cup.
$13.99, $14 for what? A gallon of orange juice? Y'all must be out of y'all.
For 2 pounds of lunch meat, $23. How the hell we supposed to feed our kids on this crap?
Truly, look at this. Look how small this pack is. Seriously, that fits like in my palm. Crazy.
The grocery stores are like, it look like it haven't even been touched.
First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rachak Kodesh. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And as you just saw in the video that I just played, right, you have people now, no, that's a video from TikTok, which is just to show, you know, like, once again, sometimes when you say certain things, it's better when it's shown, right, when people actually see it, because then they get to, it becomes more real, right, once it's visual. And so now what you're starting to see is people themselves are starting to see what's going on, right? I was driving earlier today, and I remember a place that I used to look, you know, I used to look at the gas prices over there on my way, and it would for diesel it would always show 555, like 555. And so today I'm driving by and diesel was like $6 and I think like either 13 cents or so. Gas was $3.95 over there. Now it's $4.45, or yeah, I think it was $4.45 or $4.50 something, or even $4.60 something. But basically, that's what you have going on over there, and people are starting to see this, right? They're starting to actually feel the effects of this. You know, when like you go from paying $30 to $50 to fill your tank, that's extra $20, right? Which is noticeable, and the prices are going up and up and up. And it's not the only thing for which prices are going up on. The thing about these things is that they compound over time. So when it first starts, it may go up a couple cents, right? And then eventually it goes up like a certain amount, you know, with maybe 3 cents or so. And people don't really notice that, right? Like, you just notice that you're paying a bit more. Even if you go to the grocery store, right, you notice that you're paying a bit more in total when you you know, cash out at the register. And then eventually you start to notice that, yo, with just a handful of items, you're already in the hundreds of dollars. Like, what the hell? Why is it already over $100? And now it's so apparent that looking at just the individual price alone, $14 for orange juice, whoa. All right. And so, you know, regardless of how, I'm not sure how old that video actually is, you know, because sometimes these videos tend to surface up again. But whether it is recent or not, you know, it's showing you the actual price hikes that are going on. And we've been doing, you know, lessons on it, right? People need to realize when the scriptures mentioned these being the beginning of sorrows, that's exactly what it is, right? It's the beginning of a time of difficulty that people here in this world today have not experienced before, okay? Because over time, you've gotten used to what is, especially in the Western world, what have they pushed on the people so much? Convenience, right? So it's like convenience is to the point where, you know, you don't even need to leave your house really for anything, right? For the most part, everything is sort of just like brought to you. And that is made people expect convenience. So this kind of shakeup that the Lord is getting ready to bring is going to do just that. It's going to shake up, you know, it's going to shake up Jacob, right? And the prices are just they're continuing to go up, and up and up. And you're going to start to see and feel them in different sectors. And people are not happy with that. And they're not going to be happy with that because their paychecks are not going up along with it. And then you got other places where they're trying to talk about taxing different things, in addition to what they're already collecting. So it's like they're trying to squeeze the life out of whatever you have left. Now, this here is a headline here, and I'll play it so you can hear what he's actually saying. But I'll first read it. So Trump says, "We just broke," and there's something interesting he says in here, which I would say, due to that, keep your eyes open. I mean, once again, it's nothing new, but keep your eyes open and watch over the next few days and weeks, what they do over there in Iran. He said, "We just broke every record, and now we're going to take a hit." Yeah, you also broke the record for ratings of people not liking you. It says, "And now we're going to take a hit because we have to make a journey down to Iran to take the nuclear weapon." What does that even mean? I thought they didn't have a nuclear weapon. So what are you going to take? Unless he's referring to their enriched uranium. And interesting enough that what does that actually look like when you say we have to make a journey down to Iran to take the nuclear weapon? If a president is saying that, that sounds like he's saying, because how do you go and take it? You're just gonna be in the air and then just teleport it into into where? So you have to send troops on the actual ground to go in there, find, and so-called confiscate or take whatever it is they're claiming they're going in there for. He said we would have had Iran with a nuclear weapon, and maybe we wouldn't all be here right now. So how much sense does this actually make? We have to take a journey down to Iran to take the nuclear weapon, the same nuclear weapon that Iran would have had. So they don't have one, or they do have one. Because if they don't have one, then what nuclear weapon are you going to go take? So let's listen to it.
Broke every record, and now we're going to take a hit because we have to make a journey down to Iran to take the nuclear weapon. They would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks. Remember, we sent that beautiful B-2 bomber in, and we blew up their nuclear potential. It was obliterated, for those that are not aware, and to a point where it would take them weeks to dig down, and we wouldn't let them dig down. We have our eyes on it all the time. But it was a very important thing. So we would have had an Iran with a nuclear weapon, and maybe we wouldn't all be here right now. I can tell you the Middle East would have been gone, Israel would have been gone, and they would have trained their sights on Europe first and then us, because they're sick people. These are sick people. And we're not going to let lunatics have a nuclear weapon. The power of a nuclear weapon is something I don't even want to talk about. We just broke every record.
So, according to the way he's making it sound, Iran would have just continued to work. They would have developed a nuclear weapon, and then just for shits and giggles, they would have just used it on the Middle East. They would have blown the Middle East to smithereens, and then gone after Europe, and then came after America, just because. Like they just all these years that they've been there, that was just their plan. Wait to the point where you get access to where you can, build a nuclear weapon and then destroy the entire world and then call it a day. Because countries just get up and do that, right? It's not like they have an economy to uphold or people to take care of in there. They just wake up and they say, you know what? I woke up and we feel like just blowing up everything with nuclear weapons. See, an Edomite might think like that. But, hey, that's what he's saying here. So apparently, that's why they always go around and say, oh, these people are, it's a terroristic organization, and, they're killing this and killing that. But, when you actually go and read through our history and look at the history of America, look at the history of Europe, look at the history of Iran, look at the history of the East, and see if, you know, whose actions fit the bill more. But like I said, this is interesting that he said that, right? So let's see what that journey down to Iran to take the nuclear weapon looks like and when. And you best believe that those 4.45s and $4.60, you know, $4.60 a gallon, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Because the further and further they dig into this, we're already in May, and time is moving quick. And the further and further they go, even if they stall, prices are just still gonna go up, and you're still feeling that effect. Remember, in 2nd Ezra 15, it mentioned that one of the reasons why people are gonna be, you know, invading one another and disregarding their kings and princes and taking matters into their own hands and not sparing each other is for lack of bread and great tribulation. Okay? The problem, the first problem you're feeling is trying to find where gas is cheapest. Eventually, you're going to try to find where there's gas at all. And then eventually there's none. Then what? Now you're trying to go interstate. You know, you're trying to travel 2-3 states down just because you need it. Listen, if there's no gas and there's no diesel, there's no food coming to your shops. And not just food, medical supplies, ain't nothing. That's when you start those emergency measures start kicking in, because they're already in place in other countries. But, you know, Americans are conditioned to think that if it's not here, then it's not anywhere. It doesn't exist. As long as everything is things are still doable here, that must mean the entire world is fine. But when you start to realize that your reality is now, you eat maybe, I don't know, once or twice every 3 days. Maybe even the food has gone bad or spoiled, or you have to now, I mean, do things you never thought you'd have to do just to get the basic necessities that you took for granted before. You'll think about life very, very, very differently at that point. And that's going to lead to great desperation. Right now, it's a little bit of shock. Like, what? Like, yo, whoa, that's expensive. Like, whoa, what the hell is going on here? Like, that's the what? Like, what? And then as it continues to go on, and the next time you come, it's going up even to more. It starts to get frustrating because in the beginning, it's like, yo, this is crazy. I got to put this on TikTok. I got to show people this. But then afterwards, you still got to deal with it. You're still in the store. And the things you need are the things you need. Your needs are still there. So you're going to come back again and you're going to be pissed. Because now it's like, yo, I can't even budget right because every damn week, like I can't, my list is smaller and smaller, but the price is the same. If I started, if usually I spend, let's say $230 on groceries to get me, I don't know, maybe 15 items. Then next week, I still got the $230, but now I'm only getting 12 items because prices are going up. Then the next week I come back, only 7 items. What the hell is going on here? So how do you now you're not even, you know, deciding on the wants. You have to budget between the needs. What do I need more than this? Okay, what don't I need? Cancel that, cancel this. No more of this, no more of that. And it won't be fun. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 5, and I'll start at verse 9. And salt water shall be found in the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself. Now, think about it, right? Like, friends destroying one another, usually that's like traits of enemies. Why would friends destroy one another? In what situations do friends end up doing that? Usually it's when there's trouble, when there's distress, desperation, when they get to the brink and it's like, yo, different situations you find yourself in, you realize like, yo, like you need the same thing. This person needs the same thing. There's only one to go around. Now what? Who's willing to sacrifice? That's when hey, I got a family. And the other one, I got a family too. It says here, then shall wit hide itself, and understanding shall withdraw itself into his secret chamber, and shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall unrighteousness and incontinency be multiplied upon earth, because Yahushua, remember in Matthew 24, he mentioned these are the beginning of sorrows, because It's like an avalanche, right? While you're worried about one thing, like the main problem or one of the main problems, it starts to spawn other problems along with it. Okay. So what do I mean? Well, you prices are going up, right? Food is becoming scarce. Everything is becoming expensive. There are now shortages, right? It went from extremely unreasonable prices to now shortages to now the heavy restrictions on who can how many per customer, right? Of what you can buy. Super long lines, fights breaking out on lines. Gas different regulations on gas, maybe different kinds of lockdowns. And eventually certain places descending into more chaos because of the lack of things. So people start stealing, they start taking things, start breaking into stores and fuck it, I'm not paying for this shit, I'm taking this. And then you start to have some form of chaos. And along with that chaos, now you're not just worried about food, you're worried about safety. Because in a time of chaos and lawlessness, you have assaults, right? You have lack of law enforcement. You have a lack of order. So now safety is another thing that's been spawned because chaos is going on. And you got to try to worry about dealing with all of this. Remember, the thing about hunger and the human body and its needs, it doesn't go away. It's like you need to provide continually to sustain yourself. So imagine it's so difficult. You just barely got, I don't know, 1 or 2 crackers today to feed you and whoever you're with. The question is, what do you do tomorrow when hunger strikes again? And then the day after that, when it strikes again. When that reality is going to become so daunting upon people because it's going to be like, yo, I almost lost my life 3 times today just to get 1 box of Ritz crackers so we can at least have something to eat here. How am I going to get anything for us tomorrow? And it's only been like day 1 or day 2. How are you going to survive the rest of the week? How are you going to survive a week and a half into it? If every day is like this or worse? What if the one you got to go out and you don't come back? These kinds of, this kind of reality is going to quickly set in, and trust and believe people are not in any way, shape, or form expecting nor prepared for that. Not their minds, not their bodies, not their spirits, not their emotions, nothing. Not the ability to keep composure, that's out the window. And poor decision making will get a lot of people deleted, right, in these times. So it says here, verse 11, one man also shall ask another and say, is righteousness that maketh a man righteous gone through thee? And it shall say, no. Because remember, it'll be a time of great evil. So there will be more evil around you than there will be peace or righteousness. And that's why those that are righteous are going to be desired so much. Verse 12, at the same time shall men hope, but nothing obtain. Imagine that. You hoping and hoping and hoping and hoping and hoping, and you don't get a happy ever after. You get a reality check, which is that, yeah, yesterday you got Ritz, today you got nothing, and by the end of the week or the week after that, you might all be dead. And that, like, you're sitting there in some hiding place with your family, and you're just like, yeah, so you're pretty much just waiting to die through hunger because there is no food, there's nothing. And that's your reality. And you're hoping for somebody to come from somewhere to help. You're hoping just help anyway. That is when people start to get spiritual. That is when they start to think, yo, like, you're so desperate, you're calling on different names. You're like, you're remembering, is there anything at this point? I'll do anything. Oh yeah. But then the Lord says, they're going to call upon him, but he's not going to answer. He'll put it into your mind. Because you'll in that desperation, you'll start to remember, this is exactly what the Hebrew Israelites were saying. And they were calling on some name and some, but it's not going to do anything for you. Now, you know what else you're going to remember? You're going to remember the part where we warned you that in this time, when you're going through exactly what you're going through, You're gonna call on the Lord, and nothing's gonna happen because you had your time and you did not choose it. You didn't choose the Lord. You didn't choose the fear of the Lord. You chose the world. And it's gonna be like, damn, you're only one ticket out of it. You just threw it somewhere. It was being offered to you, like, hey, this is a ticket to save your life. You should hold on to it. It'll come in handy. Hey, now after that, click, hit that shit somewhere. I don't want to care about that. And now here you are. It says, they shall labor, but their ways shall not prosper. So truly, did Yahushua say, these are the beginning of sorrows, right? And in comparison to how much worse things are going to get, you can see that these are the beginning of sorrows. And a lot of people are not even aware of how bad it's going to continue to escalate to. So, we'll watch and see, but we'll also pray, right? Because we're also going to be here, right? We also got to buy gas. We also got to buy food, but we pray to the Lord that he provides and continually provides for us in this time, right? Just like he did for our forefathers. There wasn't a gas station, a 7-Eleven, Applebee's, and nothing. There was nothing, Whole Foods in the wilderness, but yet we were fed, daily and sustained. And the same God that took care of us then is taking care of us now. So with that, Lord willing, you were edified. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, Bahasham Rachak Wadash. And until next time, Shalom.